Welcome back. It's the 150th commemoration at Fort Sumter, and you are cordially invited to mark the occasion. Here with the details, welcome Faye Jensen. Thank you for joining us. And there's a lot of things going on for this 150th anniversary of the Civil War. And this is just one thing, and this is very interesting. This is focusing on a woman, Mary Chesnut. Tell us a bit about her.
Mary Chesnut was just an extraordinary woman. She was from South Carolina. Her husband was James Chesnut, who was a U.S. Senator. So she was in the middle of all the action during this time. She kept a wonderful journal that's been really cited more than any other source on the Civil War. It's been called the greatest book to come out of the war. It reads like a novel. She was very observant. She tells the story as it is. She talks about the major political and military leaders and her opinions of them. Yeah,
Faye, we were talking, and being in the news business, it kind of reminds me of a reporter of her day, like maybe the first reporter, I guess you could say, because she did just observe and she wrote down all of this, many things of that era, but especially the Civil War. Now, why do you think she decided to write about the Civil War in particular?
Well, she kept several journals, and the one that is the most complete focused on the Civil War. It starts in 1861, it ends in 1865, and I think she recognized the importance of that time in history. And just as you said, she has this reporter's perspective. She gives the inside story on what's happening, and because of her husband's involvement in the Confederacy, she's where the action is. She's in Montgomery when the Confederacy is formed, she's in Charleston when the first shot is fired on Fort Sumter, and then she goes to Richmond and to Columbia. She's just where the action is.
She was in the thick of it, yeah, and so we have a play that will be running at the Footlight Players Theater, located, of course, at 20 Queen Street. April 9th and 10th. Now we have one show on the 9th at 7 p.m. and two shows on the 10th at 2 and 7 p.m. What will folks see?
This is a 1-hour, one-act play featuring Chris Weatherhead. Chris is from the Actors Theater of South Carolina, and she is an expert on Mary Boykin Chesnut. She has been playing Mary Boykin Chesnut for some time. She's changed this production. She's interpreted it to focus on the first shot. So it's about Mary and her remembrances of what it was like to be in Charleston at that time.
All right, well, good thing you brought it up. That's right, Chris Weatherhead is here, and she's actually going to perform a little bit of what you'll see out at that show. So let's turn it over to her.
So our friend, the judge, says, well, I think a military dictatorship would be the best thing for us. And I said, well, Judge, don't you know every man hates a dictator unless it's himself? But he wouldn't listen. And oh, the women were arguing all the time about slavery. That's all we talk about. And this lady the other day, she says, well, I would never own slaves. And I said, well, I would never own slaves either. And my husband hates slavery. He's always hated slavery, especially African slavery. She said, what? What do you mean African? What other kind of slavery is there? I said, well, he means to distinguish that form of slavery with the slavery of the world. All women who are married and young women who are still in their father's households are slaves. They have no power and they have no vote. Am I wrong? Come April 9th or 10th, I have a lot more to tell you.
All right, thank you so much, Chris. That's just a little bit of what you see if you come out and see this great production on Mary Chesnut. And again, let me go ahead and go over the show times, April 9th and 10th. There you go, 7 p.m. on the 9th. At 10th, we have 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. to get your tickets. There you go. Just go to the Footlight Players website.
Well, no, you go to the South Carolina Historical Society website.
There it is right there on your screen. Thank you for that, Erica. As I say it, there it is.
There it
All right,
is.
thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right. Well, the Center for Women is honoring Women's History Month, and they have an event that ladies in the Low Country do not want to miss. We'll tell you all about it when we return.